My, we're here.
Hi, we're here.
We're a little low energy today. It's okay.
It's been a long day. It's been a long week for many of us.
It was
And Spooktober starts tomorrow.
like
But
Effie
we're
said,
fine.
why not make the last day of September busy as shit too?
Why not? Might as
Well, we
well.
do. It's fine.
Welcome to Session 6 of VäkPäker's Guide to TTRPGs. Our sponsor for tonight is Canadian Dice. You can go to canadiandice.ca and use the code TheVACTER, all one word, at checkout for 15% off your order. Maggie's dice pick of the week is Deadly Forest, because forests are totally safe and no one ever goes missing, not even a little bit. And I mean, it's pretty fitting going into Spooktober, let's be honest.
Exactly.
So go buy some dice. And then you can check out the rest of our merch at tinyurl.com/vac merch. That's where you can get stuff like Half Orc Energy and the Vac Blob. There's Sploth shirts. There's bandanas, I think.
I haven't been on there in a hot
There's
minute, so
lame Agni stuff. You know, all the good jazz.
yeah.
So yeah, buy stuff if you want to. Hey Liz. Speaking of Spooktober, Spooktober begins tomorrow. That's Sunday, October 1st. We're raising money once again for Extra Life for Kids. Last year was a crazy month-long fundraiser ending with a 12-hour organized chaos, drop in, drop out stream, and we raised just over $1,300. So we're really hoping to do that again this year. We've got all sorts of stuff coming up, and I'll just give you a little taste of what's to come. First of all, tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern is the first one shot of the month. It's Bane of Batfort with Babysitter Rick. That's a Babies and Broadswords game. Liz and I are going to both be in that, along with some other friends, and it should be fun. I believe it's a spoof on Curse of Strahd, so
It's like Muppet Babies meets Curse of Strahd, which should
have a good time. Yeah,
be amazing.
exactly. And then at 7:30 p.m., Artemis Blob are going to be on DM Jeremy's channel for Legacy of Fire at 7:30. So check that out. And then Monday at 8:30 we have Mistwalkers back here. Tuesday is a one shot called All Hallows Evil with DM Sophia at 8:30. That's a Zombicide game, which I've seen the miniatures for Zombicide. I have never played the game, so I'm excited to watch that. Wednesday, you can catch the Society at 9 p.m. That is on.
Cantrips and coffee.
Was it?
Cantrips and coffee.
Cantrips and Coffee. That's what I thought, but then I doubted myself at just the last second. That's at 9 p.m. That's a Call of Cthulhu game. And Thursday we have A Song of Crystal and Shadow here with DM Sophia at 8:30. Friday is Fixius 5. We're trying to find a super creepy tower so that the Feywild doesn't get eaten. That's at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on Friday.
Fine, there's only a death
Saturday.
You're fine. What could possibly go wrong?
It's totally fine. And then Saturday morning is Together Among the Stars at 11:30 Eastern. As always, you can find all of these things and more as podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, and on YouTube, on here, on Twitch. So feel free to check it out. I think that's it. Now we're going to talk about spells. I think we're on first level spells, right?
Yeah, we're still
That's
like
what
partway through first level, so We got through all the cantrips. We got through some of the first levels, and
Yeah.
like as we move up in spell level, there'll be less and less spells, so we'll get through them a little bit faster. But these base level spells, everybody's got first level spells. Like everybody and their mother has a first level spell, so it's like
Yeah. Even people who aren't spellcasters have first level spells.
so we are on
Sometimes.
we're on create or destroy water right now, which is a transmutation spell.
Yeah. That's a fun one.
Yeah.
I've heard horror stories of people trying to cast them inside some bad guy's lungs.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know that I would ever allow that
Yeah,
as a
because
DM,
I
but
feel like you have to see the area like that it goes
yeah.
into. My
I
favorite
guess
thing to
it
do
says
with
within
create it,
range.
yeah. My favorite thing to do with it is so I played a grung and a grung druid, and grung have to submerge themselves in water at least once a day for an
Oh,
hour.
yeah.
And so what I did was I just had them use, instead of a backpack, they used a barrel. And at night they would just dump all of their shit out of the barrel onto the ground next to them, do create or destroy water inside the barrel, and sleep in the barrel.
I mean, it's perfect.
Exactly. Perfect.
And then you can destroy it when you wake up if you want to.
Exactly. Hey, Pasta.
I
So,
think,
bypasses the need, like unless there was like if you're in a place where there is no like water or anything like that.
yeah, I mean, I've used it to try to put out fires.
Yeah. I understand.
Um, I believe I tried to, like, be a sassy pants in a prison once because they were making me clean the floor.
One of your characters,
And
a sassy pants?
so
Never. Not even a little bit.
it was something like we were in a prison in the Underdark. I was cleaning the floor of, like, the lunchroom or something. And people kept throwing things on the floor, so I cast Create Water and just flooded the whole floor.
There you go.
And then I got kicked in the head and knocked out.
Oh
Thrown back in my cell. It's like, well, I didn't have to clean the floor, so take that however you like. Level 1.
I like you're so squishy at level 1.
Mhm. Destroy water I have also used to try to destroy fog.
Oh, okay. Hmm.
So you can see.
Yeah, I always forget that it's able to do that. So
Yeah. It doesn't work super well in a combat situation because then you waste a whole action just trying to see, but
yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes it's worth it.
Yeah. Next up is Cure Wounds. This is like the cleric and druid's bread and butter healing spell. Like
Yeah.
you do the thing, and yeah, like
This is the
it's the
the
baby healing
healing spell.
spell. Yeah, when you're little, like this is the baby healing spell, and it's amazing. And
Yeah.
like so, it does a 1d8 plus your spellcasting modifier, and doesn't affect undead or constructs unless you are in my universe, in which case it affects Warforged because we decided that Warforged have souls and can be healed.
Yeah.
The one time that Affy tried to argue with me about it, I was like, well, you know what? You could just not be affected by healing anymore if you want and have to make
Yeah.
repairs. So there's that. But
Um I always feel like when it's talking about constructs, it's like golems
golems
and
and yeah.
stuff like that.
That's what I picture too. Like I count
Well, and like,
Warforge as like people, so
yeah, it's a little, yeah, it's a little different, I guess. I don't know. Because aren't Warforged. Hang on. I'm going to look this up. I don't even think I have this book, but I'm going to look.
Eberron one. Are there two Eberron ones now? There's the Wayfarer's Guide to Eberron,
Yeah.
and then is it just Eberron? I
Mm-hmm.
honestly don't remember anymore.
Well, there was like an older one, and then there's a.
Yeah, and I thought the older one was like Eberron, and then the newer one was like Wayfarer's Guide to Eberron because that had like the lightning rails and
Mm.
stuff in it, I think, and the cool tattoo items. Like I like those magical tattoos. They're pretty
Mm.
cool. I really want to get Key 1 and Mistwalkers at some point. But first, we have to go to a town that's not in Barovia.
Good luck.
We got to go somewhere that isn't Barovia.
I'm trying to find, because there's constructs, but I think they also count as humanoids, technically.
Yeah, I think so. It's been a while since I've like actually like read their descriptions and stuff, but like
Well, and I think you're right about the books because one of the books just has a stat block for them, like if you fight them,
yeah. Hmm.
and the other one makes them like a
Like a playable
playable.
race. Yeah. And they like yeah, so cure wounds would work on them
Hmm.
in that sense. And you know, it's just it's a nice all around healing spell, and when you cast it at higher levels, it does an additional D8. So you know you
Yeah.
could really blast some healing with it if you cast it at upper levels. And there are some items that you can get that like is it boost your healing spells or something like that?
Hmm.
Like I think
Or
Karini's
like
got like
add to
special
it.
bracelets that do that, doesn't she?
Yeah, I've got
Yeah.
bracelets of the Everlight, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
And there's also like if you're a light cleric or a life cleric, you get extra boost to healing,
Hmm.
and you can like heal yourself when you heal someone else.
That's like literally what I just played in our
Hmm.
Battle of the Bags that Bree and I literally just came from. Like
Nice.
I was a life cleric, she was a Twilight Domain cleric. It was great. We were in opposite teams. It
Oh,
did not go well.
here's what it says when you click on the Warforged page on D&D Beyond. Although they were manufactured, Warforged are living humanoids.
Yeah.
Resting, healing magic, and the medicine skill all provide the same benefits to Warforged that they do to other humanoids. So there you go.
Perfect.
We got a little into the weeds with this and Healing Word also
Yeah.
in Bankar Brouhaha because of Alaxin. Because he
Which is
had the
technically
haunted
undead,
one.
right?
Yeah, well, and again, it's like semantics, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because in the book, we're going off script a little. Who
Us?
cares?
Go
This is our
figure.
show. Suck it up. Uh, he had he was a hollow one,
Okay.
and it's basically someone who's like something that has happened to them and they've come back after dying.
Yes.
And it's like a supernatural kind of thing. In the book, it says that you retain your creature type, but
Okay.
you register as undead to spells and other effects that detect the presence of undead creatures.
Okay.
And so, like, and I've been like watching Critical Role stuff as an example too, because Laudna is a hollow one. He can be healed
Mm-hmm.
with healing spells. However, when when Caduceus, this is Caduceus. I'm wearing my Caduceus shirt,
Oh
by the way.
yeah.
When
Yeah, who knows,
Caduceus
Liz? We don't
used
have a
to,
script.
right? We make this up. It's our show and we do what we want. um, when he he used to have like a because he was a grave cleric, so he could detect undead things.
Mm-hmm.
And he used to what they were with a hollow one person, and he thought they were undead, or like he read as undead. And then Laudna, she can get turned by turn undead, but that's it.
Oh, okay. I guess I didn't realize that
What?
she could be turned undead. Because I haven't really watched that far into it. So
It's only come up twice because Sam always forgets that he can turn undead.
okay, but like as a cleric, I also forget that all the time. Although I've
Yeah.
been trying to remember it since we're in Barovia. right now. Like I've been trying to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that I remember it because I have a feeling it's gonna come up. So
It will be helpful.
like
Especially you get like those low level little vampire spawn and little shits. But yeah,
yeah.
you can it's only come up like twice, I think, in Critical Role, but Matt has made her roll for it. The first time she passed, but a couple episodes ago she failed. And so
Okay.
she had to run away in the middle of combat.
Oh no.
Whoops.
Well,
Hey Bree.
there you go. Okay, next up is Detect Good and Evil. This is a concentration spell. Uh,
Yes.
I
This
think
is
I've
another
used
one.
this spell exactly one time.
There's I don't remember if did I have someone that had this all the time?
Maybe? I don't know.
Or maybe we were trying to find something or something like that, and so I prepared it one day. Because that's the thing with cleric spells. It's all a matter of what you prepare.
For your
And if you
day.
don't prepare the right spell,
Yeah. You gotta have some
oh
kind of
well.
idea of what you're headed into. Otherwise,
Right.
you could have spells that like you're just like, nah.
Yep.
Like for Keela, I
Um.
have a few spells that I always prepare. Like I always have
Mm-hmm.
Revivify prepared just because my
Yep.
fellow party members suffer from life-threatening idiocy. And also, like I always have Cure Wounds prepared and I always have Healing Word prepared. And then there's one other spell that I always have prepared. If it's it was for a while it was Sending because Gabriella was in a whole different place. But now that I know where
Mm-hmm.
Gabriella is, I don't need it anymore. So
Yeah. And she's
she's
kind
kind
of
of dead.
dead.
She's kind of dead right now. It's
Spoilers.
fine.
Spoilers.
Possibly go wrong.
I think I've only used this once, and we found like an succubus or something.
Oh, okay. There's a is it a ranger ability that's very similar to this
Yeah,
where
and
you can detect things
paladins
up
too.
to a mile,
Yeah,
right?
the ranger one, uh, I think you have to like use one of your spell slots, but you can detect. You have to like specify
Well,
what kind of creature you're looking for.
no, so the one that Affy's character has on Sundays, they can if they're in their favorite terrain, which is like desert, it's 6 miles
Oh,
for
maybe
one
that's what
thing,
it
and
is.
then they can do like it's like Fae, Fiends, Celestials, Undeads, and
Monstrosities.
Monstrosities or something like. I don't remember. There's another one,
I think you're right.
but
Wait.
and that it detects up to 6 miles, and every time she does it when we're in Harakir, Jer is like Jer's just like, oh yeah, there's like 200 undead, and we all just go,
Primeval awareness.
yeah,
You
that.
can use your action and expend one ranger spell slot to focus your awareness on the region around you. For 1 minute per level of the spell slot you expend. Oh, I didn't know that. You can sense whether the following types of creatures are present within 1 mile of you or within up to 6 miles if you're in your favorite terrain. Aberrations, celestials, dragons, elementals, fae, fiends, and undead. It doesn't reveal their location or number.
Just that they're there, which is funny
Yeah.
because Jer always tells the number of them. Tells us the number
Yeah.
of them.
It's sometimes it's more fun that way though.
Yeah, especially because you're just like, oh, look at your players' faces.
Because it's like a pain. I always feel like it would be like a ping. It doesn't really help you that much. Also, like, because we talked about this before, like Rangers in the Player's Handbook kind of get
Short end of the
gypped
stick.
on their abilities
Yeah.
anyway. So it's like, because like it requires a spell slot and you get a minute for every level of spell slot. But I would be inclined to be like, you don't need to spend a spell slot because you're a ranger.
Yeah. Like
Like,
it's like yeah, obviously
did
you can
make
only do
it.
it once a day, but like it's just like a thing
Well,
you
do
do.
it like the paladin ability where it's like your proficiency bonus
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
number of times a day or whatever.
Yeah.
And let them have all the stuff. But this is what What if you've seen The Legend of Vox Machina or the first season of Critical Role, this is what allowed Vex to know that they were being attacked by the Chroma Conclave.
Yep. Yeah.
Because her favorite enemy was
Is dragons.
dragons also.
Yep. And for detect good or detect evil and good, it's only a 30-foot radius, so it's not very strong.
Yeah.
So it's situational, but it lasts for
Yeah.
10 minutes and it walks with you. So that at least is good.
Yes.
And
And
so
you
like if
can,
you're in a dungeon, like if you're in the middle of a
yeah.
dungeon crawl, this is helpful. Like
And it will tell you if there's a place nearby that's been either consecrated or desecrated, which I have never had occasion to use. But I feel like a DM that works that in for someone who's got this spell,
mhm,
that could be kind of a
yeah.
cool thing. It's like finding a desecrated temple or something can be really cool.
You guys were just in a consecrated
Yeah.
temple, so
Yeah.
you like that was that like sort of magical feeling that you guys had that it surrounds that temple. So that's why the imp couldn't get in and why it attacked Reggie instead. So
Yep. That's right.
what do we
I
got
always
next?
I will say also it says it's a paladin spell, but because paladins have that ability where they can already detect a lot of that stuff, it seems like it would be a waste for a paladin to prepare this spell.
Yeah, for Oath of the Watchers. I literally don't know anything about that domain. Like I'm gonna have to look at it. But what's next? Detect poison and why is that covered up?
Wait, we have detect magic first.
Oh wait, yeah, detect magic first. Never mind. So again, this is a concentration spell, but this one you can cast as a ritual, which is nice.
Yes.
Like anything that you can do as a
And
ritual and it doesn't burn a spell or a spell slot, great.
I freaking love that.
You know?
Okay, now here's a question I have for you.
Mhm.
So, wizards always get their ritual spells.
Right.
I have always played it that if you have prepared, like if you're a cleric or a paladin and you have a ritual spell, or like whatever class, and you have a ritual spell, if you have prepared it, then you can choose to cast it as a ritual. But there's also ritual caster feats.
Yeah. I think
It
I've
just
always
takes
ruled it.
longer.
I think I've always ruled it as you have to have it prepared.
Yeah.
Pretty sure
Because
because
wizards
I
can do
don't
it
know that
at
I've
any
ever.
time.
Yeah.
And I was assuming that ritual caster, like the ritual feats, that's how they like make it that way for you
Mhm.
as a cleric or whatever. But I had someone, I forget who I was talking to, but someone said something about, doesn't it mean you just can't cast this as a ritual unless you have the ritual caster feat? And I was like, then why does it say R next to it for everybody? So I don't know. I've always played it that
But
way.
for this one,
If it's prepared, you can cast it.
yeah. For this one, if you sense the presence of magic within 30 feet of you, so and it tells you the kind of magic or the school of magic, which
Yeah,
that is where
which
I
can be
struggle
really
the most
useful.
with this spell as a DM. That's where I struggle the most with this spell because if it's not a
Mm-hmm.
spell that I automatically know, I have to go and look because I don't
Yeah.
know. Like
Well, and some items don't tell you what school of magic, and if they're
they
not
are
tied to a specific
school of
spell,
magic, then you
then
have
it's
to like
hard
make it
to
up.
rule. Yeah.
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 And like it sometimes it can be misleading too because like there are certain healing spells that count as necrotic,
Yep.
which is weird,
Yep.
or necromancy or whatever I mean. Um
And there's also like evocation can be another weird one. Like
mhm,
cure wounds is evocation,
yep.
and you always think of it as being like a damaging thing, but it's
Yeah,
not
but I mean
necessarily.
yeah. I think all of the healing spells are except for like revivify and raise dead and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I think those are m- pretty much all of the healing spells are.
I guess
Which
that's an instance when it's like it pays to know your spells.
Mhm.
Because like same thing with conjuration, it could like make another enemy appear or 50 enemies appear, or
or
it could
like,
teleport you somewhere.
yeah, which is weird. Like to me, the spell teleport would be more of a transmutation spell to me. Like
Oh,
I would
interesting.
assume that it's like a rather than you're conjuring something, I guess you could be like conjuring yourself somewhere else. But like teleport to me would
Yeah.
always has always sort of been like a transmutation because you're moving from one to another. But I guess
Yeah.
really it could be
Hmm.
either.
Yeah.
But and this one again has a 30-foot radius and
Yep.
it
And
moves
moves
with
with
you,
you.
which is nice. Anytime you can do a spell that lasts for a little bit and it moves along with you is always a good
Yeah.
thing.
Again, especially helpful if you're doing a dungeon crawl and you're like, are there magical traps? Are
Right?
there magic
Everybody loves
items?
those.
Yep. Fun fact, furbolgs get this for free once a day.
Yeah.
But I never have to use it because Affy has it.
That's one of the things that Ram has is like their I forget what ability that is that Ram has that does that, but
Yeah, I like it though. Takes the pressure off.
yeah.
Detect poison and disease.
Another spell I have never used.
I have seen this used once.
Yeah. It's also
Once.
a ritual spell, which I didn't know.
Yeah. Um,
So poisonous creatures, and diseases within 30 feet of
yeah.
you. Hmm. You can
Can
also
also identify the
identify.
kind of poison. Poisonous creature or disease.
Hmm.
That can be useful because then you know how to fix the poison,
Yeah.
depending.
Also, I have to say, I like reading the spell components on these things because, like, when Caleb was doing it in season 2 of Critical Role, like, I always thought that was really cool. He's like, I take a little butterfly cocoon and I just, like, poof.
Yeah.
I always thought that was cool that he did that rather than just be like, I just used my spell component pouch. Like,
Yeah. That is fun.
that's also, like knowing the components to stuff is cool if you have players that like to go foraging for things. You can give
Mm-hmm.
them spell components that way.
Yeah, that's true.
So, like, if they roll really good
I
on their
always, I
survival
still
checks.
always think, I still always think it could be fun to like come up with your own spell components that you think would make sense for a spell, especially like if it has to do with your character, like flavoring it.
Yeah, like say your character's from the desert, like that you doesn't grow in the desert,
Yeah,
you know. So like maybe it's a cactus leaf or something.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
something like that. But
Or
yeah,
the
it's kind of cool.
venom from a lizard,
Yes.
desert lizard, or snake. I don't know. The
And
only time I've ever seen this used is in an episode of A Crown of Candy, and that's all I'm gonna say because y'all should watch it. It's epic.
next up we have disguise self. I
Furbolgs
have
also get
personally
this.
never used this spell. Personally I've never used disguise self on any of my characters, but I have seen it used a lot. It's kind of a bard staple, and
Yeah, maybe
uh
warlocks
I think
sometimes.
Karini has this, yeah.
Yeah, just because she's Furbolg.
In
I've
your
used
very
it to
first
appear
episode.
shorter so that Ram
Yeah, I was
doesn't get annoyed.
gonna say, I'm like, I'm pretty sure you used it in your very first session to make yourself look a
Mm-hmm.
foot shorter so that Ram could stop having a height complex.
Yeah.
um, yeah,
This
so
is
it
the Ram episode.
exactly. We had a paladin episode, now we have a Ram episode. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't
Um,
change you like physically, so like you could make the
right.
illusion and still be like
I don't
The
remember if that was
physicality would still
known
be
by
the same.
Ram or not.
It was because they tried to like pat you on the shoulder, and they're like, "Oh, your shoulders are like actually up here."
Up here.
Like,
Sorry. Sorry, Ram. Yeah,
let's
changes wrought by the spell fail to hold up to physical inspection.
because it's just an illusion, so
Yep.
makes sense that that would sort of go away if they
Yeah.
knew that it wasn't.
In my D&D game this morning, we came upon two guys that looked the same and they were fighting, and there was like a woman with a baby that was there with them. And we had to figure out which one was the real husband. And my character, thinking she was smart, walked up to them and just started like grabbing their faces. But it was a doppelganger, so it didn't do
Oh
anything.
no! You need stuff like True Sight for that or whatever.
Yep.
So,
I think we figured it out through insight checks.
yeah, which one
Yeah.
is which? Let's see. Next up, Dissonant Whispers. This one is great for bards because
Mm-hmm.
it's just a thing that they do, and I think Breeze uses this a lot.
Yeah. And
Mistwalkers.
it does psychic damage, which is
Yeah,
not a
not a
lot of things are
lot.
resistant. Yeah.
Yeah, I think is it Totem of the Bear is resistant. That's
Um,
it. As far
that
as
one is resistant to everything except psychic damage, I
except psychic.
believe.
Okay, I couldn't remember. I know a lot of things are like resistant to stuff except psychic because
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Are mind flayers resistant to psychic damage?
I don't actually know. I've tried really hard not to look at them because I know that Mistwalkers deals with mind
Oh,
flayers. So like I've tried not to look at their stats too
blood
much.
spur.
Blood spurs. Where's Maggie when we need her? Blood spurs.
Blood spurs. Well, now I've got to look. Hold on a second.
Blood spurs.
Well, if I can look it up.
The best part was like when I reminded Maggie of like before I even got into Mistwalkers that they had visited this graveyard that had the word Bloodspur on it, and she had completely forgotten about it until I reminded her. And I was like, "Oh yeah, hey, by the way, back in session 3, y'all ran across this name."
Hmm. They are not resistant to psychic damage,
Hmm.
but they do have magical resistance that gives them advantage on saving throws against spells.
They would be so this requires a wisdom save, so they'd be an advantage for the save.
Mm-hmm.
But and is this one that they take half if they pass? Yeah, so even if they do manage to like save against it, they take half, which is nice. And it does
Very good.
3d6, which is good for a first level spell.
Yeah.
And again, if you
Oh,
upcast
and
it, you can increase the
must immediately use its reaction if available to move as far as its speed allows away from you.
doesn't move if
That's
it's
I didn't know that.
and if the creature is deafened, they automatically succeed because you have to be able to hear the spell.
Does make sense.
I just like it because you can insult people to death. It's like vicious mockery. You can insult somebody to death. Hey you. Okay, so next up is Divine Favor. This one is Paladin,
I have
and
never.
so I've used this because I have a War Domain Cleric. It empowers your weapon with radiant damage, which is nice. So if you're fighting
That's cool.
undead, this is your boy.
Yeah.
Lasts for a minute, and your weapon does extra radiant damage, which is nice.
Oh, and it's a
So
bonus action. Okay.
yes, it is.
That's pretty good. Especially if it's like a level of cleric before you get extra damage to your attacks anyway.
Yes, Liz. It must run away bravely.
Run away. I bravely run away. Brave, brave Sir Robin, he bravely ran away.
And it's a concentration spell. Lasts for a minute.
And it's magic damage, so you know.
Yeah. So if you have like just a regular, like if you're low level and you're using this, and like it makes your weapon magical, so or
Sweet.
counts as magic or whatever. So at least that isn't halved.
Mm-hmm.
This one, so the next one is ensnaring strike, which I have never used for anything. Um,
Oh, it's a ranger one. Or Oath of the Ancients Paladin.
I guess that makes sense. So next time you hit a creature with a weapon attack before the spell ends, a writhing mess of thorny vines appears at the point of impact, and the target must make a strength save or be restrained.
That's
Large
pretty
or
good.
larger creatures, it has advantage on the same. While restrained, the creature takes 1d6 piercing damage at the start of its turn.
Always
And
good.
so you make a strength save to get out, which is nice. And you can
Yeah.
upcast it, obviously, to increase the damage, which is cool. But this is, again, a concentration spell, so, like, if you manage to get a hold of somebody with it, then, you can keep them in place. And
Yeah.
that's kind of nice.
Also a
Sometimes
bonus
it's good
action.
to, like, get, get your enemies to stay put. So,
Yeah.
just helpful sometimes.
Speaking of vines and stuff, the next spell's Entangle.
Very similar, but it's
That's
like a square, isn't
it's like
it?
an area.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a 20-foot square, and it makes the ground in a difficult terrain. If you are in the area, you have to make a strength saving throw, or you will be restrained by the plants. A creature restrained by the plants can use its action to make a strength check against your DC. When the spell ends, the conjured plants wilt away. Interesting. It's a good
Yeah,
druid spell.
you're not
Good
just running
for...
around leaving patches of like crazy ivy all over the place. They go away after a
Yeah,
little bit.
just like a patch of a
Dang
huge,
druids!
like... just a huge freaking tangle of vines in the middle of a road somewhere, and it's like, oh, these people got attacked.
Yeah. Be out here looking
Someone
like
got hit by
Maleficent came
bandits.
through. Just like a blast of vines.
I feel like my my experience as a druid has been really weird because I have not uh typically prepared some of the more utility spells like this.
Yeah.
Because she's a Arctic druid. So like she doesn't use weeds and vines. She doesn't care about slowing you down. She's a turd and she'll hit you with ice knives.
Like you do.
Anyway.
Let's see, what do we got next? Expeditious Retreat. This one I think you've used, haven't you?
Maybe?
Irini's got it, doesn't she?
I don't know if I have this one.
Somebody
I should look.
Maybe it was Clarity.
It's a good spell, especially if you're squishy. You probably should have it. Karini's like...
Her Karini, she's a little squishy.
Weak! She's weak!
She needs some enchanted armor or something.
This is what I get for preparing, like... I'm like, oh, okay, here are my stats. Let's dump Constitution. Genius.
Like,
What do
Charisma
I
is my
have?
dump stat unless I have to use it for my spellcasting. Like, every time. Because I'm not a very, like, I don't consider myself a very charismatic person. So, like, it's easier for me to roleplay characters that has Charisma as a dump stat if I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
So.
I think... Because when I was building Karini, I basically was like, she's not physically much of anything. It's all like, she's like...
Mental spells.
Yeah, she's got a 16 intelligence, a 20 wisdom, and a 14 charisma. So she actually doesn't have bad charisma either. I guess I could... I mean, it's on the wizard list that I have access to. She hasn't learned it, though. Maybe next time we end up in a library. I'll see how many I can like, copy down or something.
Possibly go wrong.
Yeah. Definitely won't need a spell like this. Wild. Probably could have used it a couple times already.
Yeah,
It lets
probably.
you run away.
Basically,
The
yeah.
spell allows you to move at an incredible pace when you cast the spell, and then as a bonus action on each of your turns until the spell ends, you can take the dash action. So it basically makes you a temporary rogue.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
And then, yeah.
And it lasts 10
again, that's
minutes, that's
concentration.
actually pretty
So,
good. 10
yeah.
minutes is good.
I think, if I remember correctly, in Mistwalkers, Jer used it for the episode where they were trying to get into the back of the theater and he had all these people like following him through the streets because he had disguised himself to look like a really famous person. So he was like booking ass across the city, and I'm pretty sure he used this spell.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm
it's
pretty
it's
sure.
a wizard spell, and it's a wizard spell for a reason.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
Get that D6 hit die. Yeah, more running away bravely, exactly. I'm not a coward, I'm just staying alive.
Exactly. Next up is Fairy
Alright.
Fire. I really like Fairy Fire as a spell. Like when you're low level and you have to deal with stuff that like is invisible or has the ability to
This
go
can be
invisible.
clutch.
Yeah, like
Yep,
this is great because it blasts stuff in like a 10-foot or 20-foot cube. And so like
yep,
they have to make a deck save, and if it does, they light up like a Christmas tree. So,
yep.
and
It's
then any attack
this
against
is
it will
one
get
of those
advantage.
spells. This is one of those first level spells that really can have utility all the way up.
Mm-hmm.
Because if someone's invisible,
Yep.
this is
You
how you can see
blast them with
them.
it.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, and I
If
feel like it's an
and it
underutilized
gives you
spell too.
advantage. Yeah. It's great.
You don't see a lot of people use it. So
It's a good
it
one.
is a concentration spell though, so there's that to keep in mind.
Yeah.
And it lasts for a minute. But
Mm-hmm.
the range on it is 60 feet, which is nice. So
Yeah. Help you keep the concentration by staying away from the person you're trying to
exactly. Let's see. What do we got next?
False
False life.
life. I have only ever seen one person use this, and it was Laudna.
Okay.
But it makes sense.
Yeah, because it's a necromancy spell for one.
Mm-hmm.
Gives them
It just
temporary
gives
hit points.
you temporary hit points, right?
Yep, 1d4 plus 4 unless you cast it at higher level. So.
Mm. And it lasts an hour. Oh, and you just so each level higher, you don't add another d4, you add just a flat 5 temp hit points for each level above first. Now, speaking of enjoying the material components, this spell, the material components are a small amount of alcohol or distilled spirits. So you're basically like liquid courage.
Yeah, you're pouring one out for your homie. See, Randall, I told you I had a wardrobe change to do.
Gotta love it.
Like 15
That's
minutes. Like I gotta run to the bathroom, do a wardrobe change, get set up for stream.
I
It's been a
do
day.
know. Let's see, this one. I mean, obviously, sorcerer and wizard.
Mm-hmm.
The
Artificers,
squishies.
because they get everything.
Yep.
Death
And
domain,
then
grave
a
domain,
couple of
blood domain.
clerics.
I really want to
Oh,
play a blood domain cleric. It's like the one I haven't played yet.
is that the
That's the Wild Mount one.
Tal'Dorei one?
Yeah, is it Tal'Dorei or
Or
Wild Mount?
or is it Wild Mount? Either one. It's from Exandria, right? And
Like,
then a couple warlocks get it too.
yeah. So, which honestly, with the warlocks, that doesn't really surprise me. But
yeah, yep. Featherfall. Karani does have this spell.
Okay, but the number of times that y'all have like gotten close to falling off of shit, like,
I don't think anybody knows that Karani has this yet.
no, but it's a good idea
So
to
I'm
have it.
excited. I'm excited for the first time that we need to escape from somewhere and Karani grabs somebody and jumps off of something. And they're like, what are you doing?
Do you trust me? No, but we're gonna do it anyways.
Yep.
All right, here
Hey,
we go. And
Karani's
then
is
you're
a
just like,
reliable person, okay?
yeah, it's great. It basically turns you into a falling leaf, and you don't take any damage if you land on your feet, and it's great.
Yep.
So,
Love
hey,
it.
Handpod, welcome in, Raiders. Look at all you
Hi.
kids. Wow, did you have like a really short stream tonight, or am I just losing track of time because it's been a really busy day? Like,
It is like 8 o'clock now.
I guess I don't know, man. Time is a construct. It's been a day.
Yep.
I've been at this most of the day, so.
Yeah, you're like, what time is it? I don't know.
This
Oh,
one oh, this is
find
a reaction.
familiar is next. Yes, this is a reaction.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
so most of the spells that I have for Karani are reaction spells for her wizard spells.
Oh, okay. That's kind of cool.
Because I figured she's a divination wizard. She wants to be able to see this stuff coming. So, or to react as soon as something happens. So,
yeah, which makes sense.
that's why I think she's got like silvery barbs, featherfall, shield technically, which I always forget to use.
And remind me, you only get one reaction per round, right?
Per round, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So
What else do I have?
that is going to play into what Keela's got planned for Desiree on Monday nights, because Desiree's done fucked up.
Yep.
And Keela's pissed. So and it's gonna be even worse if she finds out what he actually did. So
I have absorb elements too, that's another one. But yeah, most of my reactions. The do you think how many of those spells do you think he has?
Of the reactions?
Yeah. Something like shield or something like that to save his butt.
My main concern is counterspell. That's my main concern. Because what I need him to do is I need him to like have to use counterspell for something. And then as soon as he does that, then I have a plan. Because then he can't fight me off. So
I love it.
Ever since he came back, I'm like, oh, I've got a plan. This is gonna be really horrible, but I've got a plan.
Pain, feel the pain.
Let's see, what do we got next? We got Find Familiar.
Find Familiar. This spell's really long.
It is. We don't need to read everything, but basically, it just summons you like a Feywild creature that is your pet and does things for you. And you can take. There's an ability that or is it a feat or something that you can take that gives you extra range with your familiar. Otherwise, it's up to like 100 feet. You can see and hear through their eyes, but you can't hear what's going on around you. So you have to like have somebody guiding you and stuff like that. So.
And I know I've seen a couple of campaigns, or it's like within 100 feet you can telepathically communicate.
And then after that, then it can come back to you and report.
Yeah. And I think I've seen.
I think Frumpkin did that.
Because it's like, it doesn't specify throughout that whole paragraph that the 100 feet thing is for everything.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. I've seen people let it go farther, but you can't tell them to come back because they're too far away. But yeah, you can like see through their eyes. You can cast spells through your familiar.
Yep. Yeah, which is cool because you can turn like, so if you're one of the people that has like an owl as a pet, you can turn them into like taser owls because you can cast like lightning spells through them and owls are great because they get a flyby attack, and like if you're using the stat block for an owl, then it can use a flyby attack and basically zap somebody and keep going.
And it doesn't get attacked. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, because of that, I really have contemplated Karani taking this spell.
Because what Fixius needs is another familiar.
Because long distance cure wounds.
Yeah. It would
could
make
be
sense
really
for
good.
Karini, honestly,
Touch,
because
and also even just like being able to do spare the dying from a distance through your familiar.
yeah, because you're not a grave domain, right? Yeah, you're a peace domain.
Mm-mm.
So yeah,
Yeah, I don't have distance, so
like that's the one thing
I don't know. It
that I
could
really
be,
love about grave domains is that they can do that spell at distance.
yeah.
But
So I mean, I've
spare
thought
the
about
dying.
it. I just everybody has a pet. I don't want to be another person with a pet.
I mean, it's only two of you that don't have them, so I mean, you may as well at this point. So,
Yeah. Wait, who's the other one that doesn't have one? Oh,
Elise,
I guess Elise doesn't.
yeah, because O technically has B boop, so
Right. I don't know. I may still think about it because
yep,
it's good. It's a good ability that you can.
yep. And you can cast it as a ritual, so you don't have to
Yeah.
like, oops, I keep punching my microphone. I'm
You just
phoning
have to
at
have
the ear.
the components.
Yep, yeah, because that one has a gold cost, doesn't it?
Yeah,
To
it's
summon
like
it,
it's only like 10
yeah,
gold
10 gold worth of
pieces.
incense and stuff like that. So yeah, it's not
Yeah.
too bad. But
To be consumed by fire in a brass brazier.
it's so fancy.
When you really read them,
Uh,
sometimes it's silly.
yeah. Next up is floating disc, which I have to say I thought this spell was kind of stupid until you used it as a fly as a way to fly across the city and
Yes.
not leave anybody behind because it was pretty amazing. Like you have to
Well,
explain what you did because it was pretty great. So
here's what happened. Taser House. Here's what happened.
let's go with
Oh,
me on this.
Ram jumped onto a dragon.
And Karini panicked.
And
It
I
wasn't just
was
Ram
like,
though, Aster did it too.
yeah. And I was like, my speed is 30 feet per round. I'm never going to catch up. What can I do to catch up? And I think you had just recently given me that book that has all the spells in it.
Yeah.
Um, and it has floating disc, which it like floats behind you over the ground.
Yeah. Like and it's never more than
And
20 feet away from you.
yep, and it can carry like 500 pounds. And then, so I cast that under everyone that was with me. And then I cast, the book could also conjure an elemental. So I cast a air elemental to carry me in front because the air elementals have a speed of 90 flying speed. And so we,
Neumed across the city.
yeah, went flying literally.
Yeah, it was pretty great.
Except I think it
Like
can't, it,
clever use. I'm here for that.
like elevation wise, it can't go too much higher or lower than it already is.
Yeah, which I let you
Um,
get away with because you flew over houses with it. But I thought it
oh,
was a cool
yeah,
idea, so
was fun.
yeah, it was good.
Um,
Are there any weird spell components with that one? I don't remember. I don't think so for that one.
a drop of mercury, but it's like component pouch kind of stuff.
Okay. Yeah. Like some of them you
Um,
have to keep an eye out for like a gold cost or something like that, but because you used
yeah,
a book to cast it, it wouldn't have mattered anyways.
right. Well, and like I think it's usually a material component or like a focus.
Hmm.
I'm assuming the book
Either way.
counts as the focus. So,
Let's see.
yeah,
Got fog cloud.
it's a good spell. You can also use it to carry treasure.
Yeah, that's what most I've seen it used for is to carry treasure. You're like, well,
Yeah.
this is a crap ton of loot. We can't carry all this, so we're just gonna floating disc it.
Yep.
And here we go.
Our chariot awaits.
Exactly.
Bring it with us. Load it up.
Let's see. Fog cloud. So takes an action to cast it. Conjuration spell lasts for an hour. It's basically giant fart.
Yep.
It's got a range of 120 feet, and the sphere is 20 feet in diameter, or 20-foot radius. Sorry.
Yeah.
Um,
And it makes the area heavily obscured.
yep. and wind, like a moderate wind or greater can make it disperse.
Yep.
And you can increase the range of or the radius of it if you use more spell slots or upper level
Yeah.
spell slots for it. So
Big old fog cloud.
it's good if you're
It's
trying
useful
to
for
like distract or if
getaway.
you're escaping,
Oh
that kind
yeah.
of thing. It's a good spell for that. It's a good utility spell. I don't
It
know
gives
that
people
I've really ever
disadvantage on
used it
you, but I think it also gives you disadvantage.
against them, yeah, because you
Yeah.
obscure the whole area. So
Yeah.
unless you have the ability to see through fog like that, which I know
Right.
there are some abilities that you can get that do that. So
Yeah.
feats
That's
or whatever.
true.
It's a druid, ranger, sorcerer, wizard spell, tempest domain, genies.
And Genie Warlock.
Yep, yep. Goodberry.
I think isn't there a ring that has fog cloud, like an official magic item ring that fog clouds it?
I don't know actually. I don't know, but
Oh,
maybe.
anyway.
But again, and that one's a concentration spell too. So
Yep.
transmutation for Goodberry. This is a druid spell. This is great for baby druids because you don't have to worry about like food. And it restores 1 hit point, and you're sustained for a day, so you're not burning through
Yep.
rations and stuff like that. So like Shazzy uses this in Legacy of Fire so that when we're traveling through the desert, we're like satisfied on water for the day, so that we don't have to like
Yeah.
worry about that because we're in Harakir and water's hard to find there. So
Yep.
Shazzy
That's a
uses
good call.
Goodberry.
Yeah, I've
But yeah,
seen I think the druid in the game that I play on Saturday mornings used it when we like helped some people escape from uh Yuan Ti cult. And they got back to their town and there was no like food stores left.
okay.
Um and so he like gave them out a bunch of good berries, which I know it says they don't
They go
last
away at the
past
end of the day,
24
don't they?
hours,
Yeah.
but
It's the thought that counts. He tried.
gives them time to go hunting or something.
Yeah, for sure. Sustains them for a day so they could go hunting. Let's see. Next up is Grease. This spell, okay, so this spell is great for if you're trying to escape and you've got people chasing behind you, you just cast it in the hallway behind you. It's great for that. Or if you're trying to like trap a stairwell, we used it for that one time. That was pretty great.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah. You just put it at the top of the stairs and just there they go.
Wipe out.
Pretty much. And then they fall
Um,
down the flight of stairs. It's got a 60-foot
as you might
range.
expect, this spell
Um,
creates grease.
yep, makes everything slippery. Got to make a dexterity saving throw, or you fall prone. And if you end your turn there, you have to make a saving throw. And it's nice if they fall, you get advantage on them with like physical attacks or melee
Yeah.
attacks or whatever. So that's always nice. Yeah, I don't know.
And the material component is a bit of pork rind or butter.
Exactly. Which is weird. Why a pork rind?
I don't know, because it's greasy food,
I guess. Yeah.
technically.
Like you do. And next up is Guiding Bolt. I love Guiding Bolt because I've used it a lot as a cleric. I've used it a lot because it makes the next person. So like I play my clerics for the most part. I play my clerics as utility people. So like
Mm.
if
Hmm.
you're trying to give the next person advantage, it does damage, but it also makes the next person who hits that target have advantage. So
Yep.
which is nice because then it makes that a little bit easier for them. Um
And it's one of the few spells you can crit on, because you roll to hit.
Yeah, as Kayla well knows, because we were over on Rick's channel for his Pandaros thing, and the competition that we were in, I didn't manage to hit Kayla once until all of a sudden I crit, hit Kayla's character, took her to 0.
Oh.
Yep, took her to 0, 1 hit. I was like, yeah, that
Oh
tracks.
no. It's got a really good range too. 120
Yeah,
feet,
120 feet, and it does is it 46 radiant damage?
4d6 radiant damage. So it's not a little amount of damage for a
No,
first
for
level
a first
spell.
level spell, that's a really good spell. Like,
And then you upcast it, you get
you get
another
more.
d6.
Yep. Yeah, I like Guiding Bolt as a spell. It's probably one of my favorite cleric
It
spells.
is a really good spell. And it's also really good because it's not concentration, so it's something you can throw in between concentration spells to
Yes.
help in a
Hmm.
fight.
Which is always good. Like,
Yep.
um, yeah.
Gotta love
And let's see, what do we got after that? Hail of Thorns. So this I've only ever seen used by rangers because it's a ranger spell.
it. Hmm.
You turn an arrow into like a bunch of flying thorns, and it
Hmm.
spreads out into like an area effect kind of,
Yep.
or an area attack, whatever.
Yeah, because is it,
When you hit
oh, a creature
the
within 5 feet of it. Yeah.
Yeah, so as long as you hit the creature or whatever, and the creature's around it too.
Hmm.
So anything within 5 feet, it has to make a dexterity saving throw, and if not, it takes 1d10 piercing. And again, you can upcast, but this one is nice because they take half as much on a save. So
Hmm. It's also
you
really nice. Like,
and it's a bonus action. So
it's a bonus action. It does a good amount of damage, and if you're using like a longbow, which does good damage anyway, and has kind of an epic range.
yeah,
You can hurt a crowd of people.
yep,
Like if
yeah,
they're
you can
running in
really
a
get them.
group, take them out from far away.
You are freaking me out. What are you looking at? Staring at the ceiling.
The only thing I don't like is that it's a concentration spell, but it only works for one hit,
Which is
right?
weird. Next time
Or
you
am
hit a
I?
creature with a ranged attack, it lasts for a minute. So the next time you hit.
So like I guess if you
No, so it's
miss,
before the spell ends. So it lasts every time you hit it within that minute, as long as you're concentrating. So that's nice. You could
I
really
mean
do a
that's
lot
how
of
I would
damage
want to
with that
rule it
spell.
anyway. Because again, another way they're like trying to screw over rangers. You get a limited number of spells,
Hmm.
and this does more damage than uh what's it called?
Hunter's Mark,
Yeah.
which is a concentration spell, right?
But I would just say maybe it has to like you only get the damage once per round.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's basically what this says, anyways.
Hmm.
So, but it's
But
nice
even
that it
even if it didn't,
lasts. I guess I didn't realize that it did that.
yeah. Well, and that's I don't think anyone plays it like more than one hit.
Yeah. I'm wondering if that's because people don't realize that it's until the spell ends, so it lasts for
Yeah.
an entire minute. Because I didn't realize that until literally just now. So,
But
yeah,
it just says the next time you hit, so maybe it's like, oh, it lasts that way if you miss, it's not wasted.
I guess. But honestly, the way that it's written, I would say that it's. I would. I don't know. I guess I would think that it would be until the spell ends. Then you could.
Or like if you choose to use it as your bonus action,
Mm-hmm.
then you don't have to use another spell slot.
Dang it, Rick.
That's maybe how I would rule it.
Hydrate.
It's Hail of Thorns, Agni. Oh.
Okay, so next up we got Healing Word. This one is good for like obviously it's a cleric spell. It's good for an emergency. Like if somebody
Mm-hmm.
goes to zero, this is a good way to get them back on their feet in a hurry
Yeah.
because you can do it at a distance. It's a bonus action. It only does 1d4 unless you upcast it, but
Mm-hmm.
um
It's good
it
as a distance heal.
yeah, it's good to get somebody back on their feet where they can like take an action to take a potion or something like that,
Yeah.
or somebody else could heal them, you know. So,
And I I mean, it's nice too if you have multiple people in a bad way,
mhm.
because then you can use your action to spare the dying, use your bonus action to healing word.
Yep, exactly.
If you have to.
Yep. And it's got a 60-foot range on it, which is nice. So,
Yeah, exactly.
next up, Hellish
It's
Rebuke.
a little less healing, but you get that distance. It's worth it.
Yeah, which is good.
Hellish Rebuke. I think this is, well, this is something you automatically get as a tiefling, right?
Yes, it is a racial ability as a tiefling, which is nice. Like I love
It's
Hellish Rebuke.
totally one use. I don't like that. People,
you can you
no, it's
can
not.
no Hellish
Hail of
Rebuke.
Thorns is not a reaction spell.
Hellish Rebuke is.
Oh, Hellish Rebuke is, yes.
Yes,
Hail of
it's a
Thorns is a
reaction
bonus
spell.
action.
Um got a 60-foot range and let's see. You can use it to so as a tiefling you get it if you get hit. If
Hmm.
somebody hits you, you can use it as a reaction to do damage to them. This one you could just use it as a regular reaction, and the target must make a dexterity saving throw, and it takes 2d10 fire damage or half as much on
Yeah.
save. And
I
if
think
it's like a spell, you can upcast it, you know. So
I think you still have to take it as a reaction to being damaged, though. Because it says
doesn't say that here.
at the, where it
Oh
says
yeah,
one
it
reaction,
doesn't.
it's got the
Yep.
little thing.
In response to a creature being damaged by a creature within 60 feet of you. So yeah.
But you know what? I think I assumed, and maybe it's just I've never had this spell before. I assumed that it was like a melee thing, but it's got
Oh.
a
Yeah, it's got
distance.
range. So like if they're shooting
Yeah,
at you,
that's great. And it does 2d10, so if you roll well on that, that's pretty good.
yeah, which is nice. So trying to do 80 million things at once here. Okay.
Heroism. This is a spell. I think Karani has this. Always.
This is another
I've never
spell that
used
doesn't
it.
get used very often.
Mm-hmm. But it is good because don't you get hit points every turn? No. Is that a different one I'm thinking of? Hold on. Oh, yeah. Okay. You're immune to being frightened, and you gain temporary hit points equal to your spellcasting ability modifier at the start of each turn.
Yeah, which is nice.
Yeah. So maybe I should use this more, but I'm bad at concentrating on things.
So. Yeah, you're a little squishy. It's fine. Lasts for a minute, which is, it's a thing.
Yeah.
Next up
We
is
also haven't
Hex.
been in a lot of situations where frightened is an issue.
You're getting there. You're going to a
But
place
I
called the
mean,
Tower of Nightmares.
that's true. Karani does always have this prepared. It's part of her
Yeah,
subclass.
it's
So,
upper class, yeah, which is nice. What do we
ooh,
got
and
on
if I
Hex?
cast it at a higher level, I can target additional creatures.
Noise. Noise.
Note to
There
self.
there is a spell that is similar to this that's a little bit higher level. I believe it's called Crusader's Mantle, and it's
Mm.
very similar to this. You get temporary HP, I think, from it, and it does other stuff, but it's very similar to this.
There's a thing that Twilight clerics can do too that give like
Yeah, that's
temp
Twilight
HP each
Sanctuary, I
round.
think.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Twilight Sanctuary.
if you're in the radius. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Crusader's Mantle.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure It's like
Getting
a higher level
resistant.
version of that, or
Oh, it's
similar
like
a
an
lot.
it's another aura spell. It's a paladin. Oh, and you have it as war domain. That's why
Yes.
Keelan
And I
has
think
it.
I've used it once.
Um.
I don't remember.
Oh, it gives extra D4 radiant damage when everyone in the aura hits with anyone with the aura hits
With their
with a
weapons.
weapon attack. So this is like a beefed up version of your. What's the one that gives you 1d4 radiant
Oh,
that we literally just
we
talked
just
about?
talked about it as divine favor, I think, right? Yeah.
There you go.
Like I'm
So
pretty
this
sure
is like that, but it's a
beefed
radius.
up.
Like
Okay.
anyone is within 30 feet of you. That's cool.
Yeah. Keela has that ability as a war domain cleric, and I think I've used it once because it hasn't come up that we've needed it because nobody's ever close enough to me that
Oh,
like it matters. So
rude.
yes, way too many spells to remember. Also,
Yeah.
hi, Dirty Dwarf.
We're
Let's see.
learning.
We're
We're
on
learning
Hex now.
along with
Yeah.
the podcast.
Like we've been playing this game for years and still just learning
Years.
shit as we're going. Like I think I'm coming up
There's
on like
been
6 years now.
multiple
So,
there's been multiple things in this little show that we started that I've been like, I didn't know that. I
yeah,
didn't realize
exactly.
it said that.
Like if nothing else, it's helping
Wild,
us.
right? We're gonna get you with our spells.
Exactly.
Hex is next. That's also a good
A
spell.
warlock spell because magical sugar babies.
Yep.
Um,
My druid warlock actually has this spell because of course she does.
it's a bonus action, lasts for an hour. It's great.
Yep.
It is a concentration spell though. Does extra necrotic damage. Um, and the target has
And
disadvantage if on ability checks if they
yep.
get hit with it, right? Yeah. So, and if the target
So
drops to
like
0, you can use a bonus action to move it to a new creature, which is great. And when you
it's
upcast it, you
nice
can
if
make
you
it last.
know that you're gonna try to hide. You can give disadvantage on percent on like wisdom, so they can't see you, or if you know someone's gonna try to push them down, give disadvantage on strength checks so that they
Yeah.
fail their athletics or whatever.
Yeah, stuff like that. So, but yeah,
And an extra
it's a
d6 of
decent
damage
spell.
is never bad.
Yeah, it's a decent spell.
Hideous laughter. Oh, bards.
I feel like most bard spells you can say that about. You're just like, oh, bards.
Oh, bards. This is a good one, I think. I don't sleep on enchantment spells because they can mess with you.
Yeah, they really can. Like if they
This
hit
puts
like they're
someone
supposed to,
prone if they fail.
yes, and it makes them laugh hilariously. So
Yep.
they have to make a
And
wisdom
then you get
save,
advantage.
and they become incapacitated, which
Yep.
is nice. Um,
If they're
I love that if they're
just
dumb, it doesn't affect them. Like
yeah,
they
if
don't
they're
get the
stupid
joke.
enough, it's okay.
They don't get the joke.
They do eventually get, I think, advantage on the saving throw if they take damage,
Okay.
but who
And then
cares?
if they succeed on it, the spell ends. So, but again, that's a bard, wizard, and warlock spell.
You know, same dirty dwarf. I mean, there's so many spells and they're coming out with more all the time. And sometimes that's good and sometimes it's a lot for my brain.
Yep.
We're
Exactly.
even just only going through spells from one book right now.
Yeah, we
Like,
haven't even gotten into like all the special stuff.
nope.
And let's see, next is Hunter's Mark.
Hunter's mark.
The thing that every ranger ever forgets that they have at least
Yep.
once or twice. They're like, "Oh yeah,
I
Hunter's Mark."
I don't know if this is a hot take or a controversy, but I think this should not be a concentration spell.
For ranger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I kind of agree that it should be like a once a day thing or as many as
Yeah.
your modifier thing.
Yeah, or at least like something that like okay, other classes get it, like Oath of Vengeance gets it, but for Rangers as part of their class abilities or something, they don't have to use concentration. Because then they can't stack anything else on it.
Yeah,
Which
exactly.
I know that's not necessarily the point, but like, are you going to choose 1d6 or 1d10? Are you
Mm,
gonna, it's just, or if you cast Hunter's Mark, yeah, it happens every round, but you never get to add anything else onto it. You never get to do anything else unless it comes with your weapon or whatever.
yeah. Hmm.
I don't know. Again, it seems an unfair disadvantage for the Ranger. That being said, there are nice things about it, like, because you actually mark someone with it.
Hmm.
Um,
Which is great because you can use it to track them.
to track them,
So,
exactly. You have advantage on checks you make to find them. If they drop to 0 hit points, you again, just like Hex, you can use a bonus action to move that.
yep, which is
So
pretty
that's
great.
nice.
Let's see. Where are we?
Next. Ooh, okay, we're going faster than I thought we would. But we're still only on page 3 for me.
Yeah, exactly. So we're on what? Identify now. Identify is nice.
Yep.
It helps you tell what kind of magical objects you have suddenly come upon, or if you have one of those parties that just like put shit on and don't think about it. Looking at you,
Yeah.
Desirous.
Craney has the spell because it's a
Tells you if it's
divination spell and
cursed.
it made sense.
Yeah. Hmm.
I gave her this in comprehend languages just
Okay.
because made sense.
Makes
Made
sense.
sense. They're both divination. He's a divination wizard.
Hmm. Easy enough. You can cast it as a ritual, which is nice.
Yep. I
Let's see what we
think
got.
this is okay, I believe you can like this is the only way to find out something is cursed technically too,
Just
right?
through identify, yes, I believe so.
Unless the item specifically says that there is information hidden even from identify.
In which
Yeah.
case, then they have to put it on and fuck around
Yep.
and find out. So
Learn through experience.
helmet is now stuck on my head. I'm in trouble.
Dang it.
Let's see. We got illusory script. I have literally never used this spell. I know that it exists, but I've never used
Yeah.
it. It's a bard, warlock, wizard spell.
I've seen it used a couple times.
It's great for like if you're trying to pass along secret information
Information.
and crap,
Yeah.
but like that doesn't come up that often. So it's a very
Yeah.
situational spell. Like it's great. It's just very situational. It lasts for 10 days. It's.
Yep. Again,
Um
if you haven't watched Crown of Candy, this spell does get used in that because
well,
it's I think it's good for very specific types of campaigns where there's like political intrigue and espionage and sneakiness and and like you
all
said
of the
like secret
sneaky sneaky.
messages and things like that.
Yes.
Ooh, a
You
creature
can
with
cast
true
it as a
sight
ritual. So,
can read the hidden message.
yep. You can cause writing to appear in a completely different language. So there's that, or in a different message, written in a
That's
different
cool.
hand and language, though the language must be one you know. So you can't just like make it say abyssal if you don't actually speak
Right.
abyssal. Which makes sense. It's
It
like
does.
it's like trying to use Google Translate for stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
um, but
True.
you can cast it as a ritual, so there's that. Um,
Yeah, that's nice.
let's see. Inflict wounds. So I like inflict wounds in practice because it like is great, or like in theory because it's great. It does 3d10 necrotic, which is a lot for a first level spell.
Yeah.
However, you have to hit with it,
Right.
and as we have learned from Master, that doesn't always work.
Doesn't always work. That being said, if you do hit with it, you can crit with it.
Yes, another one that you can
And
crit with.
watching someone crit with a high level inflict wounds is wait. Because I think
Mhm.
Jester crit with it at one point when they were
Yeah,
in
I think
Aeor,
so. Yep,
and that was
that was a lot of
awesome.
damage. So
It was so much because I think she cast it at like 5th level or something. So
yeah,
it was
and the way that like I
8d10.
do, yeah. So the way that I do um crit damage is max plus roll. So like that would be
Yeah,
automatically even at first level, that's 30
30.
damage right there plus
Yep.
whatever you roll. So,
You love to see it.
yeah. Cuz there's nothing more disappointing than like rolling for a spell damage, critting and getting
Rolling a
like 5
crit.
damage. Like that
I
is the
rolled
world's
two
most disappointing
ones.
thing ever. So,
Yeah.
Um, jump. This is another spell that I have seen literally nobody ever use. It triples your jump distance, which I don't even remember how to calculate anymore. I know it has something to do with your strength modifier, but I don't remember
Yeah.
how you do it anymore.
Well, and the tricky part of this, from what I've heard from all the like rules lawyers, is that even if your jump distance is tripled, it cannot exceed your movement speed in a turn.
Which is dumb. I would not rule it that way. Given the way that it's worded, I would not rule it
Right.
that way. But it's a druid,
I
ranger, sorcerer, wizard, artificer spell.
I have seen people use this to get around difficult terrain,
Yes. But for the most
which
part,
is handy.
it's kind of a situational spell too.
Yeah.
You know, like if you've got a lot of first level spell slots to burn, then great. But otherwise, it's kind of like, eh.
Yeah. That's one of those ones that seems like it always ends up in a magic item anyway. Like you get the
Yeah.
boot, give someone the boots of striding and springing, and
Yep.
you don't need to
And
have
then you don't
jump.
have to worry about it. Yep.
Yeah.
Same goes with the next spell, Long Strider. That's another one.
Yeah.
It that increases your speed. By 10
I
feet.
have used this one before. Not very much, but I have used it.
Okay. You can
It does
target an
take a whole action
additional.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you upcast it, you can use it on an additional target, which is great if you're like trying to run away. But again, this is kind of a
Yeah.
situational thing. Like
Yep.
it's fine.
And
It
it
lasts for
doesn't
an hour,
it's not like it doubles your speed. It just adds 10
10
feet.
feet.
So,
Yeah,
I have
but
given it to
that
I
would help
think
if
I've
you're
given
like
it
action dashing.
yeah. And I
So
think I have early on in our Curse of Strahd game that I'm in, we had a rogue that was a dwarf, and so his speed was 25.
mhm.
And so I would cast Longstrider on him to give him 10 more feet, and then he could bonus action dash. And it helped him move much quicker around the field of battle.
Yes. Which is good. Um,
But yeah, it's another one that's like,
yeah, it's kind of
eh,
situational.
yeah.
Next up is mage armor. This makes you less squishy when you're a very squishy glass cannon.
Yep.
Lasts for 8 hours.
It makes you less squishy as long as you have any decks.
Yes, yeah. But to be fair, most wizards at least have some decks. Not a lot,
Yeah.
but they you at least have some. But it
Cranny.
increases your AC, because they can't wear
Yeah.
armor, so it increases your AC. So
Yeah. Karani, well, because she's a cleric, she can wear armor. So that also helps.
yeah,
But yeah, no point for her. She has no dex.
yeah.
So,
Yep. So not one that she really needs, but
nope. It does last
uh
8 hours.
which is
It's
nice,
nice.
yeah. So
Can you only cast it on yourself or no? You can cast it on someone else.
yeah, it's just a touch.
A
So
willing creature.
yep.
Actually, it might be worth it for
Most people
Karani
use
to
it on
learn this.
themselves, but
I don't know if I realized you couldn't, or you could cast it on someone else. Because then it might be useful to learn for the sake of, like,
you have a monk in your party.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Or like Elise.
Yep.
And does Aster wear armor?
I think she wears leather armor.
Okay. But Elise presumably doesn't wear armor. I mean, Elise might have mage armor anyway, because they're
They're
sorcerer.
sorcerer, yeah.
But,
I actually don't really know. I don't remember. I don't think I've ever seen him use it, so
hmm.
maybe. Yeah. Let's see. What do we got?
Something I'll have to think about. Magic missile.
Yep. Evocation spell. Great.
Pew
120
pew.
feet.
These are guaranteed hits,
Yes. Which is
and
why they
that's
only do
nice.
1d4 damage, but
Yep.
you get more darts
But
the
it's
higher
force
level that you
damage.
spell. Yep, the
Yeah.
higher level spell slot that you use, there are more darts you get. Um,
And it's force damage, which again, not a lot
not a
of
lot of
people are
things.
resistant to.
Yep.
Not a lot of monsters, not a lot of anyone's. Has a good range. It's worth it.
Yeah, especially if you're
It's
trying
kind
to
of
catch
worth it.
something that's running away.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. Or if you get terrible dice rolls. Guaranteed hit.
They weren't so bad this last time. Like you're all right.
Yeah, it's okay.
Let's see. Protection from uh
Evil and good.
what is
Oh,
this?
yeah. This actually is a good spell, and I have used this before. Because it gives them disadvantage.
Okay. I don't think I've ever used
So
this
like
spell before. Like I know it's a cleric spell, but I don't think I've ever used it. So
it's it is pretty good. It's a 10-minute concentration, so that's kind of nice. And yeah, it just like here we are in the Feywild. If I were to prepare this, I could cast it on someone who's keeps getting hit,
mhm,
and then everything that attacks them that's an aberration, celestial, elemental, fey, fiend, or undead has disadvantage.
which is pretty great.
And the other nice part about it is the person you cast it on can't be charmed or frightened or possessed. So it's good if you're up against ghosts.
Dirty Dwarf says I just learned that you technically roll just 1d4 for all the missiles. Like, really? I thought you roll it individually.
Really?
Like I thought you roll it individually because it's 3 darts, so you roll 1d4
A
plus
dart
1.
deals 1d4 plus 1.
Yeah, so you would roll them
Because
individually
you
still.
can hit other creatures,
Yes, it doesn't
not
have to be
just
the
one.
same target. So, I don't know. Uh,
Anyway,
Next, purify food and drink. Again, this is kind of a situational spell. If you're doing like
yeah,
a lot of like role play where you actually track your supplies, which
yeah,
our campaign doesn't. Like I let you guys, as long as you're not being dumb about it, I let you guys pretty much say that you have what you need.
yeah,
Like it's the same with encumbrance too. Like don't be stupid. You know, you're not carrying around
yep.
a dragon head with you as much as Ram wants to. You're not carrying a dragon skull around with you.
I did use this once in Curse of Strahd,
Yeah.
but I had to sleep before I could use it because I didn't have it prepared. But they had poisoned the wine at Wizard of Wines,
Oh, okay.
and I don't know if that was just something that my DM did or I don't know. Um, but yeah, I was able to I think cast it twice and purify all the wine so they didn't lose it.
Nice. Yeah.
And it
So,
can be a ritual.
yep, which is nice. Next Brave Sickening or Sickness. This one's good.
Mm-hmm.
Situational again, but good. 60-foot range on it. Does poison
I don't think
damage. Target has to make a Constitution saving throw, or they take 2d8 poison damage, and then they're also poisoned. So, you know.
I don't think
Or
I've
the
ever
end of your
used that
next
one.
turn. I think I've used it like twice.
Doesn't the being poisoned also give them disadvantage
I
on stuff?
believe so. Yes, I believe like it gives them disadvantage on saving throws.
Disadvantage on attack rolls and ability
Ability
checks.
checks.
That poison condition's nice.
Okay.
Good first level spell. 2d8, that's pretty good.
Yep.
Not bad.
Next up, we have Sanctuary. So this spell saved
Sanctuary.
the other team on the Battle of the Bags that we were playing today
Oh,
because
really?
yeah, because it gave the one person that like we should have attacked, like they were safe, kind of. Like
Mm.
everybody had to make wisdom saving throws when they were near them. So like, yeah, it was the whole thing. My poor cleric, she got monked in the face. It was not good.
Oh.
Got stunned.
But
So
then if the creature, that's the part that I always forget about the spell, is that if the creature who is protected casts a spell or deals damage, the spell ends. Cast a spell that affects an enemy or deals damage to another creature, the spell ends. So you have to kind of stand there and do nothing.
yeah,
Yay! That's good. Searing Smite. Oh, I bet this is a paladin one.
yes, I believe it is. Yeah, and Forged Domain. So
Okay.
this
Extra
gives you like
1d6 fire damage on your weapon attacks.
yep,
Melee
and
weapon
it
attacks.
yeah, basically you just cause like the edge of your weapon to glow red hot, and you hit stuff, and it takes fire damage, and
Yeah.
they got to make a Constitution save, and it ignites stuff too, doesn't it?
Oh.
So
Wait, so the person
causes the
catches
target to
on
ignite and
fire?
flare. Yep. They take 1d6 fire damage, and that causes the target to ignite in flames. At the start of each of its turn, they have to make a con save. They take fire damage, or they can use their action to put the fire out. Um,
Well, that's not bad.
paladin, paladin for paladin and forge domain. Concentration. It's pretty cool. Shield. I love shield. It's great
Me
for
too.
sorcerers and
Just a
it.
straight up +5.
Yep. Lasts for
Great.
it lasts until your turn, the start of your next turn. Yeah, which is great.
Yep.
So like
And,
if you're at like the bottom of the initiative, this is a great spell because you just like you put that up and you're like, yep, I'm good.
yep, I'm good. And you take no damage from magic missile,
Yep, which is great.
which is kind of situational, but also really nice.
Yes.
I
Let's see. We got Shield of Faith, cleric
like it.
spell. I love Shield of Faith. Shield of Faith. When I remember to
Shield
use
of
it,
Space.
yes. When I remember to use the stupid thing, gives you +2 to your
Mm.
AC. Like my issue is that half the time with Keeley, everybody else goes before me, so like I forget half the time to put it on myself, or you can put it on other people. But it's a
Yeah,
bonus action, gives 60-foot range. But yeah, it's I forget about it all the freaking time. I need to start remembering it because especially
it's
where we
pew.
are. Um,
Yeah, it is good if someone keeps getting hit too. Just that extra little bump.
yeah,
Nice.
sometimes that can make all the difference.
Yeah.
Um, is a concentration spell, lasts for 10
Yep.
minutes.
Bonus action.
Yep.
Also
And
nice.
let's see, silent image. This is great if you use illusion spells, but I never have. So
This my um Druid Warlock in Curse of Strahd. Lord, I'm getting sleepy.
it's been a long
she
weekend day for everybody.
she has the yeah, for real. She has the invocation that does this, and she also has minor illusion as a cantrip. And you can
Okay.
combine them because minor illusion is not a concentration spell. So
Okay.
you can do silent image to have a larger, more detailed illusion, and then add sound to it with minor illusion.
Hmm. Which is great.
I have plans.
Oh no. Oh no.
Our group got to, our DM had us go through the book that Strahd wrote about himself. It's like his own journal or something.
Okay.
And we got to see what his mom looked like. And she eventually dies, obviously, because Strahd's been alive for a long time because he's a vampire. But the
Feel as
plan
if you
is
don't
once
know
we,
that already,
yeah,
which you should at this point.
you
It's been
should.
out forever.
Even if you've never played Curse of Strahd, you should know. Strahd's a vampire. Um, the plan is once we get into Castle Ravenloft, when we see him, she's gonna cast Silent Image of his mom with like black goop spilling out of her mouth.
Oh no.
And then she's gonna use Minor Illusion to make her start screaming. Just to really try to freak him out.
Yeah.
I don't know how
Great.
that'll go, but it's gonna be great. It is
I'm here
it's a
for it.
decent spell if you don't need the sound though.
Yeah. I'm here for it.
Because it's large. It's a very large illusion. It's a 15-foot cube.
Yeah.
And
Which
it
is a
can
decent size.
move, I believe.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, you
silent
can use your
image.
action to move it
Yep. Which is great. So
and
like
alter its
freak people
appearance.
out by doing stuff
Yeah.
with it for sure. So there's that.
Physical interaction reveals it to be an illusion.
Yep. Which
Makes
makes
sense.
sense. Let's see. So sleep is another spell that like again, sleep is great when it works,
Yeah.
but it doesn't always work is the problem. And you have to have low hit points for it too.
Yeah,
Like
I feel like it works well if you've either done a bunch of damage or if you are in low level encounters and you're facing a bunch of goblins.
yeah, exactly. Mhm.
Yep.
Which is, cuz it deals like it makes it does a certain amount of hit points worth of like it affects that amount and it just starts is it with the lowest
It
hit
starts
points
with the
first
person,
and then just like
whoever's in the area with the lowest hit points, which could be an ally, so you have to be careful.
yeah, so you have to watch out for that, but yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And then you have to subtract that from however many hit points you rolled
and
and
you can
hope the
upcast it,
person you want is affected. Yeah, you can. And it's an additional 2d8 hit points for each spell slot level, so
which is great.
bam.
So
Speak with animals.
it's a great spell, but
Yep.
underused because a lot of times you don't run into that.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of situational.
I
But it
feel
is a
like
good
it's
spell.
often an RP.
Yeah, it's an RP choice thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good for so like I would think that it would be good for if you are in like a city campaign. You could use it to talk to
Mm,
like the local cats and the dogs and the rats and things like that to help get information about things. Like I would think it
yeah.
would be very good for that kind of a setting rather than like hey, I'm out in the middle of the woods and I want to talk to a squirrel, you know. Like
Just, I mean, you could do that.
you could, yes, but I feel like you would get more use out of it. Like
Yeah.
you could get more use out of it in certain situations. Like
Yep.
it's a good spell, but
It is a good spell. I think it's a great RP spell, especially if you
yeah,
have pets.
yep. And you can cast it as a ritual, which is great. So,
Yep.
you know.
In the last 10 minutes, it's a good long conversation.
Let's see. So Tasha City's Laughter is next. This one, I don't know that I've ever used this one. I think I've seen people use it, but I have never used it.
I
It's
think
30-foot
we.
range.
So technically, I think we already talked about this, but it's because. Here's why Wizards of the Coast. They have all these named spells that are named for like famous
Famous
magic
people.
users. But they also have them in here under generic names so that you can use it in your campaigns and your homebrew worlds and
Yeah.
whatever without having to refer to Tasha or whatever.
Yes. So you just,
So, like, I
rename
think
it.
there's a version of it just called Hideous Laughter.
Yeah, probably. They have to
And it's
make
the
a
same,
wisdom
like,
saving
floating
throw.
disc is Tensor's floating disc.
Yeah. Yep. Let's see. So
Oh,
this is a
like, which
wisdom
is the
saving
next one.
throw. Yeah.
Yeah, wisdom save,
They become
or you
incapacitated. So
laugh a
yeah,
lot.
it's basically hideous laughter. It's like it's the same thing.
Yep,
Next up, tensor floating disc. Basically, literally what we talked about. 500 pounds, doesn't move more than 20 feet away from you.
yep,
Just named after a person.
yep.
Thunder Smite. So this one I've never used because I don't play paladins. But
Same.
like there's a lot of the smite ones that I've never used because I just don't play paladins.
Yeah. It's
So
nice though because the smite ones, I mean, I can imagine they would be really nice because they're just a bonus action. And if you want something that has more oomph to it or more effects to it than just a regular old divine smite, like this does an extra 2d6 thunder damage,
and it's
not
thunder
just a
damage, which is
d8.
great. So
Yep. And it's loud,
mhm.
and it also pushes them away from you and knocks them prone if they fail.
Which is
So
great
I
if you need
mean,
them to like back up so you can turn away.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's that. It's good. And it's a bonus action, which is nice.
Yeah.
So
Those
um,
paladin spells.
yep.
Oh, we've only got 4 left. We might
Yeah,
as well
we got
finish
this.
these out and finish for the night.
Yeah, yep. So we got Thunderwave is next. This is 15-foot square. Around it's
Now,
centered on you, right?
well, here's the thing. Because I've seen
Yes,
people
it
do
sweeps
this.
out from you.
Yes, I've seen people do this area of effect the wrong way many times, technically, according to the rules.
Yes.
I don't have any problem with you being the center of it and pushing away in a cube,
Hmm.
but technically, according, like, if you look up the areas of effect from the basic rules, it is you are at the center of one side and it
Oh,
goes
okay.
forward from you. And
Okay.
that's why it also pushes things away.
Okay.
But I wouldn't, as a DM, I wouldn't have any problem with someone like if you're surrounded by things,
Using
I don't
yourself
see
as
why not.
centered by it, yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's the way that I thought it was originally was that it because the just the way that it's worded, it sweeps out from you. Like I thought that
Mm-hmm.
that meant that you were like at the center of it, but I guess not necessarily. Like you could technically send it,
Right.
like out in front of you, not necessarily around you. So,
Yeah. I think because I had to look it up because the first character I ever played
but
was
she is. It is
a
force
Way of
ghost.
the Four Elements monk,
Okay, yeah.
and she was an Earth Genasi, and she had this
Hmm. Yep.
this one as one of her things.
Yep.
It's
Move stuff 10 feet
a
away
good
from you.
spell.
Yeah, it's a good spell.
Not a lot of things resistant to thunder damage.
Yep. And
I feel like even when you see stuff that's like resistant to elemental damage,
mhm,
thunder is not necessarily on that list.
yeah,
You'll
yep,
see like fire, cold, acid, lightning, and
yep. And
that's it.
thunder and lightning damage are different.
Thunder and
So,
lightning are different, and I feel like sometimes thunder's not on the list.
mhm,
Also, really nice if you're like a Tempest cleric and you're fighting a blue dragon. And I definitely don't have a specific situation for
no,
that
no,
at
no.
all.
Of course not. Why would you bring that up? Like,
Because you can max your damage on lightning or thunder spells, and they are not resistant to thunder. Mm-mm-mm. Anyway, moving on.
are resistant to lightning because they're blue dragons.
Yep.
Let's see, Unseen Servant.
Oh,
So this
unseen
is another
servant.
bard spell. Like I've only ever seen this used for just absolute mayhem. Like like this stuff people do with their Unseen Servants is just like, why are you like this?
Yeah.
Like it technically has its own stats. Like it has AC of 10, 1 hit point, and a strength of 2. Can't attack. So basically, it just like waits on you if you want it to, and it's just I've seen it used for just
It's
dumb
a
shit.
choice.
Like you can cast it as a ritual, which is
Yep.
fine, but like lasts for an hour. I
The
don't know.
best way I've seen this used was Emily Axford, of course. She had a monk warlock multiclass,
Hmm.
and she had unseen servant as one of her things. And then what's the thing that lets you see through another creature's eyes or
I know
something
what
like
you're
that?
talking about. It's like a warlock ability, isn't
It's
it?
it's another warlock ability.
Yeah, I
She
know what
so
you're
she had
talking about.
she cast unseen servant and then used that ability to look through its eyes, and she used it to spy on her family without them knowing that anyone was in there.
Oh goodness,
Pretty good.
like you do, like you do.
Yeah.
Let's see, what do we got next?
Witch bolt.
Nice. This is
I've
a good
never
spell.
used this.
It's
I've
nice,
never used this
like
spell.
because if you hit, it just continues the damage.
Mm-hmm.
So it does 1d12 lightning damage. You can increase the damage obviously for each spell slot you cast it at, but I've seen it mostly as a warlock spell
Mm.
because
Because you
it's
only
good
have to
for
use one
them.
spell slot.
Yeah, it's good for them because they're automatically at their maximum spell slot level, and
Yeah.
so like it just does that.
The
You don't have to
damage just
worry about
ramps
it.
up. Yep.
So it's good for warlocks. It's an evocation spell. It's got a 30-foot range on it. But it
You
is
just have to hit.
concentration. Yes. That's the tricky part is hitting with the dumb thing.
Yep.
So, yep. It's a good spell. It's good for
Mm.
warlocks.
The spell ends if you use your action to do anything else. It also ends if the target is ever outside the spell's range or if they have total cover from you.
So yeah, it's got you got to hit somebody who's out in the open with it. So,
Yep. And keep up with them.
yes. Hmm. And hope that they don't move.
Yep.
Um and then finally our last level 1 spell,
Wrathful Smite. Who
another
knew a
paladin
paladin
spell.
spell? Although I think it's a hexblade too.
Yes, Hexblade Warlock, yep.
Paladins, warlocks.
Exactly.
An additional d6 psychic damage. That psychic damage again is
Nice.
nice. Additionally, if the target is a creature, it must succeed in a wisdom saving throw or be frightened.
Nice.
That's kind of nice.
It has to make
Chase
a
them away.
wisdom save against the DC. So, there's that.
Not
Which is,
bad.
yeah, it's right.
Not
It's not bad
bad at
for.
all.
I'm just not a fan of paladins. That I just don't like
I wish
paladins.
it was more than a d6 because I mean, again, it's that extra ability to like frighten them or whatever. But I don't know, your regular paladin smite does more than that.
Mhm.
More damage. Anyway, that's our first level spells. That's it.
Made it.
And
Finally.
we did it it is like 8:59.
Right. Yep.
I'm impressed with us.
We did it. We did the thing. I'm just looking to see if there's anybody that we can raid real quick.
Well, that's our first level spells, y'all. And we've both had a long day and a long week and a long month and a long several years. Life
Yeah.
is hard,
It's been
y'all. Okay.
and it's about to get
It's
even
been
worse
rough.
because Spooktober starts tomorrow. So like,
Yep.
yeah, it's gonna be it'll be fun. Uh, I don't
So,
I don't sleep between now and January. So like
yeah, you know, I've got so many things to write. My head hurts.
oh,
Um,
mm, okay, I think
but we're
we're
gonna
gonna
raid
raid Dice
somebody.
Legends. 'Cause sure, why
Nice.
not? So see if I can get
That's
things
Legends.
set up here.
Yeah.
Raid.
I just made up a song for them. Don't forget to join us for Spooktober all throughout the month of October. We're raising money for Extra Life. It is a great charity. It does a lot.
A
They do a
lot
lot
for
of good
us.
work. And we would really love to, at the very least, meet the goal we had from last year. So if we could beat it, that would be extra awesome for Extra Life. So yeah, come watch our one shots, watch our regular games. It's gonna be a spooky month. We're gonna have a lot of fun, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Yep. Red-eyed and
Or
bushy-tailed
I'll
or
be here
something
tomorrow.
like that.
Yeah.
I'll be in chat for a little while at least, just making sure that nothing blows up, and then I'll be
Oh
over
yeah,
on
we'll both
Jeremy's
see you
channel.
tomorrow in different games.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but I put on the thing here.
Yeah, see you tomorrow, Liz.
Yeah, Liz, I'm
Baby's
excited.
game.
I can't wait. Like, I'm excited to be able to watch the first part of it at least. So there's that. But yeah, I'm gonna put it on
I
outro
can't
and then
wait.
we'll raid.
I was not sure what character I wanted to make, and then I just like came up with it at the last minute, and it's great.
Can't wait. I'm excited.
I like it.
But all right, we will see you when we see you.
Bye.
Bye.